Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining to our today's webinar. My name is Mylan Liu and I will be the host of this webinar today. So basically we are talking about how to select the ALM solution because as an increasing number of development teams and companies also are convinced about the benefits a good application lifecycle management software tool can bring, the other problem arises. So for example, how can we even choose the one ALM solution which perfectly suits the needs in your company? This webinar today aims to provide the objective overview of different factors, features, and also capabilities, and also business considerations to keep in mind when you actually evaluate an application lifecycle management solution. So let me walk you through the agenda for today. After a short introduction of our company, Untitled Software, I'm going to talk about the benefits of using a application lifecycle management solution and how you can prepare for choosing an application lifecycle management solution. After the impartial overview of strategic and also technical and business considerations, this webinar will give you a hand in preparing for the evaluation of multiple ALM tools. And in the end of this webinar, also practical advice will be given on technical evaluation as well, following with a live demonstration. After the live demonstration, we will start a short Q&A session. And in case you have any questions at any point of this webinar today, please make sure and feel free also to use the integrated question area of the GoToMeeting dashboard. And I will do my best to answer them all in the end of this webinar. And in case I don't get to your question, I will follow up with you, of course. And another thing, a recording of today's webinar will be also available on our website soon after the webinar today. And once you also are visiting our website, please make also sure you browse around through our upcoming webinars as well. So starting off with a few words about Untitled Software. Our company, Untitled Software, was founded in 1998. We are headquartered in Stuttgart, in Germany, and also have an office in the Silicon Valley in the USA, and also in California. Lufthansa Industry Solution, one of our biggest customers, and also our rollout and hosting partner for small installation, which starts from 4 or 5 up to really large installation to 5,000 users. We also have resellers in Korea and Taiwan, and we are the sole developer and the sole vendors of the application lifecycle management tool called CodeBeamer. And this is a fully integrated and complete application lifecycle management solution with 5 different components, such as the requirements management, software development management, Q&A and test management. You can also do demand management within CodeBeamer, and also IT operations. And CodeBeamer provides full traceability for all these components, ensuring that this is just on one single solution. All right, why do we even what do we even need application lifecycle management? So with the increasing complexity of software solution, both standalone and also software embedded in all sorts of devices, developers have increasingly felt the need to use tools to support actually their current work processes. So from MS Word or Excel and Excel used to manage the requirements through early source code management platforms, software development teams have relied on various solutions over the past few decades. And however, it has gotten to a point where individual tools can no longer adequately support development processes of elaborate software systems. And also integration is necessary in order to efficiently streamline software development lifecycle processes, increase product quality, and also shorten the time to market. Application Lifecycle Management platform helps to achieve these goals by enhancing the collaboration between different team members, ensuring also process visibility and the complete and full end traceability throughout the complete lifecycle, while also offering other valuable capabilities and features as well. And some application lifecycle management tools also contain, as mentioned before, the demand management capabilities. The benefits of basically traceability, a more efficient teamwork, and the clear processes um, can lead to, let's say, more profitable business by letting your teams develop better software and also faster at the same time. So it's pretty clear that using application lifecycle management software makes the perfect sense here. The problem, on the other hand, is that there are several solutions out there on the market, and you really need to scan through what the market offers in order to find that one which fits your internal processes and also objectives best. And today's webinar will help you to do that in the most efficient way which is possible. And you probably don't want to go around wasting time and effort and money to evaluate a bunch of application lifecycle management solutions. But on the other hand, you want to also make sure that the product you end up, which you purchase, is going to perfectly support your needs in the upcoming and also in the next years. So the best piece of advice we can give you actually, when preparing to evaluate and eventually purchase an application lifecycle management solution, planning is really the key. So thorough planning can save you really a lot of time and also will result in finding the perfect solution for your needs. And the first step is you will need to take actually a step back. And you have to look at your processes from very start or from an objective outside point of view, let's say. And this actually will help you identify the features that are vital to you. So, for instance, if you're developing, for example, safety critical software embedded in, let's say, medical devices, the need to ensure, for example, compliant processes and also the gapless traceability overrides all these and all else. And whereas if you're working on, for example, smartphone apps or creating like developing actually software, for instance, collaborative features and agile supports maybe significantly be more important to you. And let's say these should be given a value of from 10 to 10, let's say. And it's a good idea to write down what you actually want to be able to do right now, and well, how you think your processes will develop in the foreseeable future. So, for instance, you may want to switch to Agile in the next few years, in which case you should look for a solution that supports both of your current processes as well as Agile development. So that enables you actually to make these transitions when you are ready in the future. And once you know what you actually need, condense is this to a simple checklist of different modules and also features. And requirements management is usually a bare necessity, but you may find that you would also benefit like from test management module or solution, which allows you also to manage your demands in a company, or which are coming from the market. And this kind of checklist will be like let's say manual for you and your team when you actually evaluate and also compare different solutions. And since we will be looking at dozens of requirements or just, let's say, nice to have features of different and also multiple application lifecycle management solution, it's pretty much a very good idea to set up a simple scoring system. And also based on your checklist, the scorecard will also help you to evaluate your options against each other. And just give, for example, a value from 1 to 10 to each feature or function based on their importance. So you can easily measure how different software platform score actually. And this way you will only have to actually evaluate and try the, let's say, 2 or 5 products that score the best, in your opinion. So let's take a look at what kind of requirements you have or you may have against which to evaluate for different application lifecycle management tools. Basically, there are 3 types of priorities you need to consider. So, for example, we have the strategic requirements, the technical specification, and also the business priority. So, starting off with starting off with the strategic requirements, you will have to think about, for example, whether let's say your chosen solution supports your legacy processes, which is, for example, actually the processes that you're currently using and would rather keep. It's very important, and you have to really think about that. The ideal, let's say, application lifecycle management solution should be able to be tailored to your needs, and that will also support and also optimize the existing processes in your company, and as well as your current software ecosystem. So if you actually need to know that some of your suppliers, for instance, are using, for example, MS Office, let's say MS Word or Excel to manage their requirements, your application lifecycle management solution will have to, of course, support MS Word or MS Excel documents, even if this is just internally or also externally. This is very important, and you will be relying on the application lifecycle management tool superior requirements management capabilities. And as mentioned before, your chosen application lifecycle management solution should also support waterfall, any kind of also agile methodologies you would like to or you want to use in the future, as well as, for example, a mix of both approaches, which is called the hybrid methodology. So this is basically a mix of waterfall and agile methodology. And if you're working in an industry where you have to comply with various regulations, and you're also looking for application lifecycle management tool that support compliance out of the box, this is a very good idea. The other point are the technical specifications. So obviously they are also they are of vital importance, let's say. Among them, integration is really the key, and an integrated application lifecycle management solution doesn't only contain all the modules and features which you need, but these features are also, let's say, chained together organically, and therefore you need to ensure or gapless end-to-end traceability needs to be ensured of the box. So let's say from, for example, requirements all the way down to releases, the links will be either automatically established between your work items, or you can set them up manually and conveniently. And an application lifecycle management solution, which is basically no more than just individual modules glued together, will not be able to provide this. And consequently, the ideal application lifecycle management tool offers requirements management, software development management, quality assurance and testing, as well as release planning capabilities. And also a few, let's say, additional modules such as IT operation, also known as DevOps, or demand management are nice to have. And what is of great importance as well, however, is let's say the great flexibility. So you should be able to really simply tailor the chosen application lifecycle management solution to your needs and the internal processes, and not the other way around. So you should be able to really tailor the tool to your processes and not your processes to the tool. So you need to make sure that your ALM solution contains all the modules which are fully integrated and can be flexibly adapted to your processes. You need also to pay the attention to manage teams and work items through the complete lifecycle. And therefore, collaboration and also project management capabilities are the key of importance. And finally, you will also want to document everything what happens throughout the life cycle, especially if you need to prove the compliance with certain industry standards or government regulation as well. So the last point are the business priorities. Finally, you see there is also a business side of all the things. And you also need to consider the costs of your application lifecycle management solution. And we really mean the cost and not the price. If a suboptimal solution requires a lower upfront payment, you need to consider that cheaper, but let's say in the longer term run, a more expensive but more suitable solution would probably pay off and provide a better return on your investment. Another question is let's say, the hosting. If you're planning on hosting your own solution, you may have to upgrade your hardware infrastructure, which is also, let's say, an added cost or additional cost. And using a cloud-hosted solution lets you dodge this bullet, but may also, let's say, raise like safety concerns as well. Also, whether support or training or adequate consulting options are offered by a chosen vendor is also very important, as purchasing the solution is not the final, but let's say it's the first step. And you need to also train your team to realize the benefits of using an application lifecycle management. And what kind of license options are also available could also greatly affect your return of investment and all the overall value of the application lifecycle management solution. And overall, it's very, let's say, very important that you calculate everything and you don't just look at the upfront price, but the actual long-term cost of competing application lifecycle management solutions over a timeline of, let's say, from 3 to 10 years. So once you have also your requirements and scorecard laid out, it's over to the actual evaluation. Remember, you don't have really to do all the work yourself. Application lifecycle management vendor companies will be eager to sell their products to you, so there's no need to really have your team scan the market and also filter all available application lifecycle management platforms manually. And instead, please feel free to actually take the advantage of the fact that you're the one with the budget, and let the vendors do the work. And assemble a request for proposal with all your requirements and send it out to some vendors so they can compete actually. And that said, the RFPs can be double-edged swords, so the vendors will be, or they want to shine light on the pros and hide the cons of the products. And your RFP will have to be assembled in order to make sure that all your requirements are roughly covered. One last piece of advice is really stick to a substantial definition of your requirements. Don't look for a certain feature, but rather define what you really need in the company and what to be able to do with the application lifecycle management tool that you're about to purchase. And also, as different vendors may have different ways of, let's say, getting you. You shouldn't just rule a solution out just because it has to, it has a different name for something which greatly simplifies your processes. And once you manage to narrow down the list of potential and suitable application lifecycle management solutions, ask for live demonstration of each, and you have your team to roughly evaluate, let's say, 2 or up to 3 of them that looks the most promising. Another advice is that also allow the vendors a few weeks actually to do this, and you don't want to rush to things. And purchasing an application lifecycle management platform is not a light decision. And once a decision is made, feel free to start the negotiation. Vendors offer various discounts on price list, and also a volume of discount is pretty easy to negotiate. But you may be also able to get a few more add-ons for your money. So that will actually listen to all the important features. Let's say what this all looks like in the practice, so that you know what you're actually kind of look for. And let me show you some of these mentioned features during a live demonstration of our Copimer Application Lifecycle Management, so that you can also understand how some of the capabilities are and how the features actually work. But before we actually move on to the live demonstration, I would like to ask you some questions. The first question is, what software methodologies are you currently using? Are you using Agile, Scrum, Waterfall, or even a hybrid methodology right now? All right, thank you so much. I have another question, which is a tool question. So which tool are you currently using? Is it MS Office? Are you currently using IBM, Jira, HP, or even other tool that we haven't mentioned here? All right, I can see that most of you are using MS Office, and also some of you are using Jira. So out of the box in Copimer, we have an integration with MS Office and also an integration to Jira. All right. I have a last question before we actually start the live demonstration, which is, are you searching a tool to manage just requirements, or even Q&A testing, or the entire development lifecycle? Are you searching for a tool to just manage agile projects, or even to scale multiple agile projects, also known as SAFe, which has been introduced by Dean Leffingwell? All right, thank you so much for your answers. So in this case, I will directly jump into the live demonstration of Copimer. So therefore, I will just switch into my Chrome. Copimer is really accessible for all standard browsers, and you see this is a hosted solution as I'm on the sascopimer.com. But using Copimer, you can also start to really implement Copimer on a local instance, so you can also ensure that everyone or the safety and security is kept in your company. So we provide also different options to really host Copimer. And as I mentioned before, Copimer can be used with all standard web browsers, may it be Chrome, Firefox. We also support Internet Explorer and also Safari. Starting off with the demand management capability in Copimer. So basically, you can use the demand management in Copimer, which is, let's say, very essential for tracking all the demands and also the ideas that are coming on the market. So let's say if you have actually a new idea, you can simply add a new idea by pushing or hitting the plus button, and then you can specify a name for your idea. So let's say we need to develop a new tablet. You can also specify, let's say, attributes and also properties and a description for your tablet idea. So for example, you can use our what you see is what you get editor, which is a capability on our requirements management to really specify the current idea. So for example, let's say a new tablet for the year 2016. And now you can save this up, or you can also, of course, upload some kind of screenshot as well. So I'm just dragging a picture of my tablet into that one, and I will save up this idea. On the right-hand side, you see that we also provide different attributes and some details. So for example, you can specify the failure and risk. You can also directly specify the cost. So for example, let's say 12,000 euro, and also some other options as well. And these fields that you can see right now, this is fully customizable according to all the attributes you actually have and also need in your company. A feature that we have in Copimer for demand management is that actually in this, you can see we are in the documents view, where you can really work in documents like view. Basically, your business analyst in a company can now go through the list of different ideas which are really coming from the market, and they can now start to vote and also to rate on this idea. And therefore, they can click onto that star symbol to actually, for example, give some stars, whereas 5 stars is the highest, and then the business analyst can give a comment. This is very important. And now he can actually rate on this. And you see now highlighted with yellow, the average rating from all business analysts are shown here. And also another thing is that the comments are being stored here, so you can pretty much review the comments and also let's say the ranking of a specific business analyst. Another thing is that you can use drag and drop functionality to actually provide or prioritize the idea. So for example, I'm just dragging the idea into the first point to also say that this is the most valuable one and we really have to go on with this. Another thing is that we also have another visualization which is coming from the Lean. This is the so-called Kanban board. And everything is just about the real-time decision making and also the visualization of the workflow. So basically what you can see right now is the workflow, how to actually decide for which product development or for which idea we're going to implement in the future. And the flow of the work for each stage can be monitored very easily. So I can see which item is in the to-do, which is in the progress. And let's assume that we are actually starting to implement the most important idea. You can just drag this idea from to-do into in progress to actually start the implementation, and you can start working on this. So the Kanban board is a very, let's say, helpful visualization for the project manager to get insight into the progress of your work. So from the idea, you can also directly derive, let's say, requirements. And by deriving a requirement directly from your ideas, you will see that Copimer established the link automatically. Let's save this up. And now when I go to the detailed information of my idea, you will see in the relation that we actually have a link from the demand to the requirement. So this is a way basically how we can establish links by using the plus button you just saw right now. Another thing is that most probably I've just changing the tab. You're just wondering how to get all the requirements into Copimer that are already existing in your company. So for instance, if you have a document like this with specific requirement on a tablet, for example, and the tablet contains description, picture, and also sub requirements, and kind of a hierarchy, you can easily import your documents into Copimer. So for example, you can just simply import various types of files into Copimer. So we support out of the box all MS Office types, may it be Word, Excel, also MS Project, and we also support CSV files. So actually, the document you just saw right now, we can just simply drag it into Copimer to actually import the file to the system. clicking on Next, you will get the chance to decide in the preview if you actually want to really import all these requirements that you defined in the document. So therefore, you can now review all the requirements once again. And if there are some requirements you don't want to import, you can just delete the requirements. And just with one click, I can just unselect all the requirements. And also during the import, I can also specify for which type I'm going actually to import. So you see we're going to import requirements types, but you can also directly change the type. So for example, if you want to import test cases, you can do this as well, or different other requirement types as well. So as of now, I'm going to import all these requirements into Codebeamer, and you see on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, once I extend the tree structure for all my requirements, all the requirements have been imported accordingly with all the hierarchy and also description, pictures, and also the sub-requirements. Another thing is that as many of you in a company or even external stakeholders or partners are still working with MS Office, we have implemented a nice feature which is called the Live Edit. So actually you don't really have to change the tool or the tool that you're working the whole time in the company. So we are offering a solution where you can actually stay at let's say, documents in a Word, and you can still work with Office. So this is a nice feature to really feel comfortable with an application lifecycle management tool. All right. The next feature in Codebeamer is also you can directly assign your requirements to a release. So therefore, you can just open up the release tab and assign requirements to release just by drag and drop. So these are one of our release management capabilities. And also another thing is that you can also establish gapless end-to-end traceability, and you can establish, as you've seen before, the link automatically, or you can establish the link manually as well. So for example, if I have the system requirements called tablet, and I would like to link with a software requirement that you can see on the right-hand side, I can just take the, for example, software driver, which I want to actually link to the tablet. And now I can just drop it here to create a reference. So now the reference was successfully created. Going to the details view of my system requirement now, you should see the relation. Let's say, sorry, just dragging again. Going to the detailed information. Now we have the relation. All right. Basically, directly in this view, you can also start to test. You can directly generate a new test case, so for example, and also you can create them recursively or just for this node. And basically, you can start really to go on with the test. So you can define test cases, define test steps. You can also reuse test steps. And also you can run multiple test cases at once, let's say. But if you're interested in to see the capabilities of test management, we have various webinars recording on this, and I would like to ask you to check out on them. Another feature that we provide to really establish the endless traceability, the gapless traceability from end to end, is a so-called Traceability Browser. So within the Traceability Browser, you can basically show all the links that you have established in your system, even across projects. So for example, if you want to trace from different trackers, you can just select the next tracker to show the dependency. So for example, obviously there is one. And now you can just really select the next tracker to show the dependency. So for example, we are tracing from customer requirement to system requirement to software requirement. You can really go down to source code. Or if you actually have source code or change requests, you can also trace to change requests, then to bugs. And I think we also have some source code commits. So we are tracing from customer requirement to source code commits. And obviously there's no connection to the bug, but let me scroll down a little bit. You see that as of now we are really tracing from 2, 3, 4 multiple levels. So this is kind of really gapless traceability, and you can also trace the status of each item. Another thing is also we have the capability to export the Traceability Browser with all the trackers that you dynamically set up into either Word or Excel. And this will give you a file like this. So you will also get the overview on this in Excel or Word as well. Another thing is that also in Copimer everything has a unique ID. So let's say there's also the hard link. If I want to actually check out this item, I can simply click on that, and you will be referred to that specific item. Also, another thing that an Application Lifecycle Management tool can actually support you is if you are doing requirements-based testing. We have the coverage browser, so you can actually see which requirement has been covered by the test cases and what's the status. So you can basically also see, okay, which requirements do we still have to test, and what's the to do. So what do we have to do? And pretty much, if we just take this one, so we have a requirement, and you see that the requirement has been failed because I can see directly here that they have been covered with 2 test cases. One has been successfully run, as this is highlighted in yellow, and the other one has been highlighted, that's highlighted in red, has been run not successfully. So overall, this gives a very nice overview on what to do and what requirements have to be tested. What's more, you can also filter for specific criteria, let's say. So you can directly show all the requirements which still has to be covered, or you can also specify a certain environment for where the requirements are, and that gives you a very nice feature to really save time. So you can have the overview what's the progress. Another thing is what I mentioned before in the presentation, is that you actually are looking for a tool where you can adapt your processes in the company and not the other way around. So basically you can see all the statuses and the possible status changes directly in this view. And what we also provide is a very powerful workflow engine where you can customize the process in the tool. And you can really build up very complex, let's say, processes within Copimer too. So for example, if you really need to be compliant or to provide FDA compliancy, we also have e-signatures. You can also create different work items, so for example change requests or test cases or risk, automatically if, for example, a requirement has a very high safety class. So you can also fork automatically processes using Copimer's Webflow engine. Another thing is that also I mentioned the agile capabilities. One that you've already seen before is the, let's say, Kanban board. The other thing is also that we have a so-called release statistics. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is what you can see right now. So for example, if you're developing hardware, software, or even in parallel, we also support to develop, let's say, multiple or parallel life cycles as well. So this is what you can see right now in this release statistics. You can see how many, are you actually progressing and what's the status? Are you actually able to really ship your release? And you will see, for example, how many items has been signed to this release and how many has been done. So you can also get this overview. You can also see how many hours has been planned and if you are actually on the right timeline. Another thing is we also, off the box, we have a burn-on chart. So basically you can see then the work left versus the time, and it is very useful to see and also to let's say predict when all the work will be completed, and as I mentioned before, if you actually are able to ship the release on time. So this gives you a very nice overview. Another thing is that you can also use the planner, so you can actually also plan on your different releases. So you see, for example, we have these kind of releases, one for hardware, software, and service. And let's take the project backlog. So we have items that haven't been assigned to a release yet. So you can basically use the release planner to actually to plan on your releases. So we have this item here that's still in the project backlog. And now I can just drag this item into a specific release. And now you see we just took this one into the right release and indicating that we're working on this. Also, we are having, let's say, teamwork, collaborative features, which are also important. You see also that we are having different teams working on this item, like the beta, alpha, delta, zeta, and we also have just 2 teams working on another one. All right, another thing is, of course, you see in the release, the hardware development can work with waterfall, whereas software development, we see that agile methodology is coming more. Another thing is the team resources, actually, that you can also plan in Copimer. So we see all the teams that have been defined, and also who is a member of this team and what's his resource. I can see what kind of task or what things he has to implement, he has to work on, and yeah, what's his workload, I would say. You can see basically all the information for your resources, for our members, directly in this view. All right, so hopefully you have a quick overview on what the capabilities of an Application Lifecycle Management tool. Pretty much, I would say this was the live demonstration. If you also would like to find more about or more information about our Copimer Application Lifecycle Management, feel free to directly download the guide for an objective overview of the characteristics, features, functions, and valuable Application Lifecycle Management tool should offer. Or you can also directly, let's say, get in touch with our sales department to get more information on this. And alternatively, you can also, let's say you can also can get all your answers questions by one of our consultants and during a live demonstration, one-on-one, free of charge. So thank you very much for joining to this meeting today. Before we actually jump into the Q&A session, I would like to ask you another, or let's say last question. Would you like to receive further information about Copimer? All right, thank you for your answers. So let's jump to the questions. There's a question, do you also have a Gantt chart in your tool? Yes, we also have a Gantt chart, which is wiki plugin in Copimer. So do you have any further questions? Also, I would like to invite you to our next, sorry, let me go back to the presentation. I would like to invite you also to our next webinar titled Transitioning to Agile and Safety Critical Device Development on the 4th November of 2015. Also, there's another question, what about printing the pages? We need to sign each decision. Of course, we're not providing import functionalities, but you can also export everything into Copimer and then you can print out the pages. Or you can also use the capabilities of using a browser where you also can print out all the necessary information. But possibly I will show you how this looks like. So for example, if you are in Copimer, as I mentioned before, you can export everything to Excel once again. Also, what I haven't shown yet is that you can also use the round trip functionality. So let's say if you would like to work offline, or if you have collaborator which doesn't really have to have the access to your Copimer instance, you can just export either to a simple Word export, or you can use a round trip. And then you can start working offline or send the round-trip export file to your collaborators, and they can start working on that. They can change they can change the requirements, can change your items, can also comment on this. And if you actually import the file back, if you have internet access, then Copimer will show this. So I hope this answers the question. All right, so any questions? Any other questions? So let's wait a few minutes. There's still some questions left. If no, I would like to thank you so much for attending for our today's webinar, and see you next time.